What's up, viewers? Eric from Sonic. Today we have here a 2016 Lexus CT, and we're going to be installing our Apple CarPlay Android Auto interface today. It's a plug-and-play install. Everything's going to be connected behind the radio and also the monitor. We're going to route it to the glove compartment area. It's pretty easy, but it's going to take some time taking apart all the panels. So we're going to show you step by step. Let's not waste any time and get started. Alright, now that we're in the car, the first step we want to do is remove this panel. So use a panel removal tool, something like this. If you don't have one, we also have it offered for sale on our website. And just put it between the cracks right here. And once you get a hold of it like this, just go ahead and just pull it out. And once you have it pulled out, you could either just let it hang out like this, or you could take it all out. And next step, we're going to pull this piece out here. It's all just being held by clips. Okay, just like that. So next step, we're going to go ahead and remove this piece over here. Alright, there we go. So we just went ahead and stuck our finger in between the steering column and the panel. We got a grip, we just pulled it out. Okay, just work your way to the side. Just pulling off the clips one by one. Alright, so once this is out, let's go ahead and remove these two side panels. And once that piece is out, go ahead and remove the shift knob. Alright, and once we get those side panel pieces off, we're going to remove this big area over here, and it's just everything's just being held by clips. So just raise your armrest and just get a really good grip of it, and we're just going to pull it up. Okay, just like that. And once that's out, go ahead and just unplug the connectors under it. So let's go ahead and put this aside. Alright, so now that this center area is out, we're going to go ahead and pull these parts out, and this is all just being held by clips as well. Okay. And just unplug all the connectors behind it. Make sure you pull on the connector and not the wire itself. Okay. The next step, go ahead and grab your 10mm socket wrench, and we're going to be removing 4 10mm bolts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. After we pull those 10mm bolts out, we do have to remove the climate control up here. Alright, there it is. And let's remove the connector behind it. Okay. So once the climate control is off, you could go ahead and pull out the radio. Okay, so after we remove this radio, pull it out, let's go ahead and we have to remove the top screen or get behind it. Before we do so, we have to also remove this vent as well. So go ahead and grab a panel removal tool, something like this, and we're gonna just pry this piece out. Alright, so once you have this vent out, just go ahead and remove this clip over here. And then once you have it out here, there's actually these clips that's actually holding this top panel piece. There's the left one right there, and then there's also a right one right there. So you have to press that up to release the clip so that the top panel could come out. Alright, so once those clips are released, the top panel should come off. There we go. Okay, so once the monitor is exposed, there's 2 10mm bolts that's holding it. We are going to loosen those two. Grab some microfiber towels and just place it out. Pull it out, and we'll just lay it on top of this, just like that. Alright, next let's go ahead and we're going to drop the glove compartment. Okay, in order to drop this, we're first going to work by removing the bottom panel piece over here. It's just being held by clips. You could just use your hands and just pull it down. Okay, just like that. And let's go ahead and disconnect our connectors down here. Okay. Alright, next we're going to remove 3 10mm bolts that's holding this SRS airbag. One's going to be on the side right here, and there's going to be 2 more on the bottom. For this one over here, looks like we have to remove this kick panel on the side. Let's go ahead and do that. So there's a little plastic screw that's holding it. I'm going to remove that piece. And then afterwards, we're going to remove this door sill, and then we're going to remove this. The door sills will just come off just by just pulling it out. Use a panel removal tool if necessary. Okay, and then next we're going to remove this piece right here. This is also just being held by clips other than plastic screw that we removed earlier. Now we have a better access to remove our 10mm bolt on the bottom here. Okay, and then there's also another 10mm bolt on this side. Okay, once those are out, SRS airbag piece is ready to come off. Okay, just like that. And once all this out, just clear the bottom area, and then we are going to place it. Just let it hang for now. And then the next step, we are going to be removing the glove box finally. There's going to be 2 Phillips screws on the bottom. This one and also this one, and there's going to be 3 on the top. Actually, there's only going to be 2 on the top, so 4 total. 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. So once those screws are out, glove compartment is ready to come out. Okay. And go ahead and remove this connector here, that's for your light. And we're gonna remove this clip that's holding this wire together. Okay. Go ahead and put this glove box to the side. Alright, now that everything is out, we're ready to connect our interface and then route the wires. So here's our kit we have here. We already went ahead and organized all the wires with using wire loom and some electric and Tesla tape, so everything is ready to be connected. And if you want to know how to organize your wires prior to installing it, go ahead and check out our other video. I'll leave a link on the bottom of the page. So we are going to start off by connecting everything behind the radio. So in order to do that, you want to grab this big harness here with the big connector, and also the smaller connector right here. These are the 2 connectors that will connect to behind the radio. So if you look behind the radio, you'll find that the big connector is here, and the smaller connector will connect to that connector right there. So let's start off by removing the smaller connector. Use either a small panel removal tool, or you could use a flathead screwdriver. Just press in the pins like that and just pull it out like this. And the other one, you just use your fingers, press down on the tabs and just pull out just like that. Alright, so start off with the large one. Everything just plug and play. Okay, there it is. Okay, and once it's connected, make sure to configure your CAN system. This for the LEXUS CT, we're going to use a GS configuration. There's a GS and an RX configuration. So once you choose which CAN wire to use, what you're going to do is you're going to disconnect the CAN wire jumpers, and then we're going to connect to what's going to our interface. So we went ahead and did that already. And we also have this other aux cable. Okay, so the car side will connect to our harness, and our harness will connect to the radio. Stop daisy chain. Okay, just like that. Alright, so the connection behind our radio is complete, and now we have these wires that we need to route to behind the glove compartment and also to the monitor. So in this wire loom here, we have both the aux cable and also the main harness cable that we put together. So those are the cables that you want to route to behind the radio, which includes both the mic cable and the aux cable. The aux cable is a 3.5mm with 2 wires going into it. The mic cable is the 3.5mm with 1 wire going into it. And we also have the main harness that has this wire loom already attached to it, which will connect to this joint circuit board with key shrink that's wrapped like this. It's going to be disconnected when you receive the package. Go ahead and connect it on this side, and the other side is going to connect to the other side of the harness like this. Okay, let's go ahead and route it. There's a big opening behind the radio that goes to the glove compartment side, so we're going to use that route. Okay, all right, that is that. And then if you look at your main harness, you also have a harness like this that's coming out of it. And we already went ahead and organized it together with our video cables like this, because these are the cables that's gonna go behind the monitor. But if you haven't organized your wires like this, you are going to route this cable first to the monitor. From the glove compartment side, we're going to go straight up, and these video cables are going to be routed separately, going straight up from the glove compartment to the top monitor. But for us, everything's already together, so we're just going to route it together behind the radio. Okay, like this. And then from here on, we're going to go straight up to the monitor. Alright, like this. Okay. Alright, so once all these are up here, let's go ahead and connect them. So you're going to disconnect both of these connectors behind your radio. And we are going to daisy chain it. This, and the other side will go to the radio like this. And then on the video cable, one into the monitor, we'll connect to our harness. And the other side of the harness will connect into the monitor. So our connections on the car side is now complete, the monitor and the radio. And the next connections that are left are the connections to our interfaces. So let me go ahead and grab our interfaces. So we have our two interfaces here. One of them is the vehicle interface. The other one is for CarPlay and Android Auto. In our car side interface, before we connect it, go ahead and make sure your dip switch is configured to this specific vehicle. For the LEXUS CT, it's going to be a dip switch number 3, which has to be in on position. Everything else is going to be in off position. Depending on your vehicle model, it's going to be different, so make sure to double check the instruction manual for the correct dip switch setting. Okay, so let me start off by connecting everything to this car interface. So as you can see here, we have these two video cables coming down from the top monitor. The one that's labeled in is going to connect to the outside of the box like this. And then the other one that's labeled out is going to be connected to the inside of the interface like this. Okay, and then the next connection is the main harness that came from the radio and connected to this chip. It's going to have this larger connector on the other side, which will connect to our main interface like this. Okay. And then our last connection is our HDMI connection over here. So grab your HDMI cable and connect it like this. Okay. So all the connection for our interface is complete. Let me continue on with the connection on our CarPlay device. So on our CarPlay device, it's the plastic box. Let's start off by connecting this 2-pin wire that came from the monitor. This is to supply power for your CarPlay Android Auto box. And just connect it like this. And then you also find these two 3.5mm jacks. The one with the two wires is your aux, and the aux one will go to the HDMI side of the box like this. Okay, and then your mic is the one with one wire, which will connect to the USB side of this box like this. Okay, and then our last connection, well, actually the second to the last connection to this CarPlay Android Auto box is this HDMI that's coming from the interface. And then the last connection is our USB extension like this. Okay, so this one we're gonna disconnect later just so we could route everything. Before we do that, I want to go ahead and test the unit out. So what we need to do is go ahead and put the radio back in its place, and we just need to connect our controller. Upon first loading, it's gonna go ahead and go through a little loading process because we did disconnect the wire. So just give it a moment. Let's go ahead and long press the home button, which will switch over to the CarPlay mode, and go ahead and just connect your Apple device, your Apple iPhone to it, or your Android Auto. And it's first going to ask you if you want to allow MV17 while the phone is locked. Go ahead and press allow. Okay, and it looks like everything is working as it should. Okay, so after you confirm that it's working, one setting that you need to change is go ahead and go to the CarPlay box, and there's a little pin inside this little area towards the 3.5mm mic. So go ahead and grab a small pick, Just press and hold it for 3 seconds, and it'll go ahead and take you to the settings menu. And on the settings menu, you'll notice that all the volume levels are at 56 except the main volume. So go ahead and raise this all the way to 56 as well. Just like that. And then go ahead to the back, and then now your setup is complete. So we went ahead and tested the sound. And it is coming out of the car speakers. And then let's go ahead and press menu. Hey Siri, what's the weather right now?
It appears to be clear right now in Ramallah.
And let's see the previous track. Okay, it's also working. Next track. Alright. And then the home button. Long press will take you back to the native screen. Long press again will take into the CarPlay mode. Alright, so it looks like everything is working as it should. Next step what we're going to do is we're going to just tidy things up over here, mount the interfaces, and then clean things up, and then reverse order our installation process, and that's going to conclude my installation. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, one thing I want to mention is be very, very careful where this HDMI plugs into the interface. This is the most fragile area of this interface. If you bend it in any way, it can potentially break the interface. So be very, very careful this here. Don't put any pressure when you're mounting it. Okay, so for this LEXUS CT, we went ahead and mounted our interface up here. There's an empty slot. We also mounted our CarPlay under here. There's a little bit of room down here. We just double-sided tape on both sides. We used some zip ties just to organize some of the wires. And the only wire that we have to now route is our USB that's coming out of here. And we're gonna go ahead and route this through the back side of the glove compartment. There's actually a little bit of an opening there that we're gonna slip this through. So we're gonna have this sitting inside the glove compartment like this. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna reverse order our installation process, and after that we'll be done. Alright, so we went ahead and finished mounting the interfaces. We put all the panels back together, and before we go ahead and try it with our phone, there's one setting that needs to be changed. So this is on the iOS 13. On the iOS 13, go ahead and go to your settings, and then go to accessibility and go to touch, and on the bottom you'll see call audio routing. In default it's going to be automatic. Let's go ahead and change this to Bluetooth headset, and we're done. For iOS 12 it's going to be a little bit different. Just go ahead and go to settings, and then go to general, and go to accessibility, and then call audio routing, and you're gonna have to change that to Bluetooth headset. Alright, so once we have all that connected, make sure your phone is connected via Bluetooth to your vehicle as well. So just your native screen, everything is gonna be the same. There's nothing different about it. And before we go into our Apple CarPlay mode, you want to set your media to aux. So it's already set at aux. Just go to your source if you're not in aux, and just go ahead and select it. And once you have selected it, long press the home button, and it's going to take you to the Apple CarPlay interface. This is iOS 13 that you're seeing right now, so the screen's a little bit different than what we showed earlier. Alright, and you have this really cool split screen feature that has a lot more information in one page than it used to have before. It's really cool. Okay, and then let me just do a little quick demonstration here. So I'm just gonna play music. Okay, and this is a music player playing right now, and we have these two arrows for on this LEXUS CT. So if you press the up button, it will skip to the next song. Or if you go ahead and press the down button, it'll go back to the previous song. And then if you press the menu button, it'll bring out Siri. What's the weather, Siri?
It's currently clear and 91 degrees in La Mirada.
Okay, and then the volume controls will continue to work. You could either use the knob here, or you could use the volume on the steering wheel control. Unfortunately, the volume level will not show on this screen, but it is still changing your volume. And in addition, when you're making phone calls, it's gonna be normal, just you're gonna be making phone calls through your phone interface. In addition to that, you can also pick up phone call using your steering wheel and also hang up using your steering wheel as well. And when you make phone calls using our kit, you're always going to be using your Bluetooth, your factory car's Bluetooth, so that your volume levels are going to be consistent to what you are used to. The aux is going to be used for all the music and all the turn-by-turn direction. And when you make phone calls and when you receive phone calls, they'll automatically route to your factory Bluetooth as long as your phone is connected to your vehicle via Bluetooth and you have the correct settings set as we have shown earlier. This is compatible with both iOS 13 and iOS 12, and it is going to be compatible to all future updates as well. And if any firmware is needed, we're going to go ahead and send you the file, and it's very easy to update the firmware. All you have to do is go to this USB plug and get a USB thumb drive, load the new firmware to it, and just plug it on here, turn on your vehicle, and it will update by itself. In addition to that, let me show you quickly on how the new Android Auto interface looks as well. So we have here the Samsung S9 Plus, and before we go ahead and connect it to the vehicle, go ahead and download Android Auto. And after you download Android Auto, go ahead and launch the Android Auto application on your phone before you connect it to the vehicle, because we want to set it up to use the newer version Android Auto, because the older one's a little bit glitchy. So as you can see over here, this is the interface for Android Auto. Press the 3 lines on the top left corner, go to your settings, and then go ahead and try the new Android Auto. And once you have that selected, you're done. Go ahead and simply just plug it into our USB using a high quality USB Type-C. Okay, so it is connected to the vehicle. We did a switch over, and as you can see, this is the Android Auto interface that you see over here. And this is a really big improvement than the previous Android Auto. Everything works much better, much faster. So that's our Spotify playing on the background, and you can also use Google Maps. Okay, it will give you a turn-by-turn guidance. We just need to start moving, and it'll go ahead and do so. And depending on the applications you have loaded on your phone, it will show you different applications. And you also have all these additional options that wasn't available in the previous Android Auto, such as news, play music, reminder, weather, and so forth. If you want to summon Google Assistant, you can do so, pressing menu. What's the weather today?
In Lamarada today, it'll be sunny.
Alright viewers, thanks for watching our installation demonstration of our Apple CarPlay Android Auto system for Lexus vehicles. And specifically today on this 2016 Lexus CT, this same product is also compatible with select 2013 to all the way to 2019 Lexus vehicles. So if you have any questions, leave a comment below or send us an email at info@bsonicusa.com, and we'll go ahead and respond accordingly. Thank you.